Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth and welcome back. So I wasn't planning on filming this morning. However, we just ended up doing so much in the garden. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna bring you guys along, show you what I've done so far, and just kind of show you what I'm working on in the kitchen garden. The cats are out here being crazy, playing on everything. So we got started just finishing the landscape fabric on the left side of the garden. And we got that all done, got that all down, which is great. I've not done the mulch yet because once we had that done, I started thinking about that outdoor sink. I had mentioned that I might want to move to the other side of the kitchen garden, and my husband was out here helping me. So we got that moved, and the 3 perennials that were where the sink ended up, I had to transplant those. So I moved those. And it's just a beautiful day. It's like 82 degrees and this part of the garden is in the shade right now. The whole back 3/4, I guess, are in the shade. So it is very lovely. There's a light breeze, and this is the first time I've worked in my garden in probably almost 2 weeks. I've come out and I've done little things here and there, mostly like watering and harvesting, but I've not done like any chores in that long. So I've really missed it. Life has been busy. Work has been busy, but this is a me day in the garden. And I love this arrangement right here. They're so cute. I can't wait to get them in the ground. That's one thing, is if I decide I have the energy today, I would love to start planting things. I don't know if I would get them all done. I've got a lot of things to get in the ground. And from the little bit that I planted just a bit ago was a hosta and a stilby that I transplanted. It was so dry, like right there where Ernesto is. He's literally sitting between the hosta and the astilbe. So funny. Anyways, it was so dry there. It was really hard to dig. It made me kind of worry, like how hard other places will be. I did not foresee them being difficult because we have had a ton of rain lately, just not in the last few days. I guess it could have dried out that fast. So let me show you what we've done so far. So first off, we got that landscaping fabric done, which doesn't go all the way to the house because there are existing plants there. So I'm just going to deep mulch between the plants, and hopefully, I'll still have to weed stuff in there. But then this is where we pulled up the plants that were right here, and we moved the table. We did clean it out and wash it off a bit, but it still needs to be scrubbed before it's ever painted. I've got to do all this mulch, which I'm going to do next. And you can see I put my hummingbird feeder back after we did the mulch. I love that, right outside my window. And then over here, what did I do? I dug up this white rose that was tiny and not growing, and I'll show you where I moved it to. But see, right here's where that sink was, so I need to wash the building behind. Look at Sterling and Ernesto. They're so cute. So all these leaves right here were what was on top of the sink and down in the sink. So my husband threw all that out, which I'm glad, because it kind of looks like mulch because it's like thick enough. So this is the hosta that was over on that other side. And then here is the astilbe. I cut it way back because it had a lot of brown leaves. That's a 2-year-old astilbe. So hopefully, you know, it's time to fertilize everything anyway. So I'm definitely going to do that soon. Look at him inside there. Okay, so I also scooted that down here, and I moved this container back. So these 2 containers used to be like right here, and I just kind of scooted them back because now we're creating like this new little odd shaped, kidney shaped bed, I guess, kind of along the building. But one thing is all along the building there's spring flower bulbs in there. I think they are, what are those called? They're yellow. Daffodils. There's daffodils all in there. So I am going to plant a couple of more things in here, and I don't know about anything else there. I might go ahead and leave that open. But if you remember, I've got 2 hostas in this container and 3 hostas in this container. I will likely plant them throughout here and kind of have like a row of hostas and kind of fill that in. And once I get the mulch done on the left side, I'm going to be coming over here and then mulching more on this side. So that's the plan there. Let's see. I'm going to try and move these cannas today because we've been going in and out of this building a lot. So I'm just going to be moving these to right there. And then also the wisteria, the corkscrew wisteria. Look at this. This is the only green left on it. There's no green up here. It makes me really worry. When you bend them, some break like that, and some of them don't. Okay, those are all bending. So I may just need to like kind of prune some of this stuff off. I'm sad that it dropped leaves. Maybe it's just shock. Definitely needs to get in the ground. So I think if I actually just prune this stuff off, the little tiny ones, and I leave all these main stems, that it should be fine. But again, as with everything else, it needs fertilizing. Oh, look at our watermelon here. It's flowering. Oh, and you're running way over there. Let's keep you in here so we can see any fruit that comes up. That's going to be fun. Glad that's... Oh, look, and it grabbed onto the little moon thing I put in here. How cute. Anyways, I hope that does something. Again, we've just got volunteer potatoes coming back there. Oh, and I was looking at this right before I started filming. This sedum in a pot. Look how cute. It's getting its little blooms on. How fun. I don't know if this is like the autumn blaze I've got up front or if it's different. I think it's different because this really is very pink toned. But anyways, one other thing I'll mention is since we moved the purple fountain grass here, it was on this back fence and we moved it up here. And I don't know if it's liking its life better, but it actually, you know, is looking okay-ish. So when I put it in the ground, I'm going to be trimming a lot of this yellow off, cut it back a lot, and then get it in the ground. And I really feel like these two containers in the willow tree are the first three things that absolutely need to go in the ground because they look like they're suffering. And so these two, I'll be deadheading any of this stuff and giving everything a good prune as I put it in the ground, and then a good fertilizing. So that's what I'm doing. I think the next thing I'm going to do is work on the mulch so I can get that done and see if I need any more. My husband is heading to town today for Hadley's ballet practice, and so if I need like 3 or 5 more bags, he could get it for me, which would be super. But anyways, we managed to get that done and not run out of pins or landscape fabric, so that's glorious. So I'm going to get to work. This is what it looks like now, and then I'll be back with you. Oh, we also moved these chairs over here temporarily, trying to fill it out. I still really want a couch here instead. Okay, so I got all of the mulch done, and I'm definitely going to need a few more, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. It's not a ton more. So I'm going to go around and count and see what I think I need because my husband just left. So this is where we got to. And there are a few areas I did skip because I knew I would need more for. So I'm thinking at least 2 for this back corner. And then 1 there, so that's 3. And then I want to mulch all around this, what you would still see after the skirt goes on. So that's another, so that's 4. I'm liking this. Over here, I did all the way up in here, up around that hosta there. I did around the bowl, so there's none under it, but I'll just always leave it there anyway. I did all around here. I did not do back there, so that would probably look nicer if I did. So what's that, 5 now? I moved this guy here because I got to thinking that when I do finally set it up and start using it, you know, I pull the hose out and I go forward or backwards. And then I'm always catching on plants. So I've got that hose stop here in front of this little Cosmo. And then I've got a hose stop there at the corner for when I go around the front of the house. And so I thought, well, if I put that here instead of back in this corner, I don't have to worry about deadheading plants here unless I'm going backwards, which I have no plants here right now. The one thing I don't know that I've mentioned as I was doing this, but everywhere I had my glads, I pulled them up. They're all right here because I'm going to just plant them somewhere else. You know, they grow by bulbs, so they're fine. Even the ones that have been laying here for like a week, they're totally fine. I will cut the greens off and I'll put them in their new spot. I've just got to figure out where I want them, but I want to do them somewhere all grouped together and where they get enough sun, because where they were along these shrubs, they didn't get enough sun to grow very big each year. So I'm pulling those out. So there were some of those here and there was some there, and I just pulled them all out. And so now that that stuff is gone, you can see I have a zinnia here that doesn't get enough sun to do hardly anything. Cosmo Zinnia Hosta, which that's been there like 2 years now, and you honestly never even noticed it before. But now with the mulch, it like actually stands out, which is great. And I did have some glads, I think, right here too, and I pulled those up. I would love to do a bag of mulch there because the dog goes in there and she digs, and so it just looks like you can actually see bare dirt as opposed to in this bed. You can see that it's mulched. I mean, it could use some topping up, but it actually looks fine. So another one for there, which will be 6. And I think that's about it. I'm loving the no border. So I don't guess I'll be putting the bricks back anywhere because I'm just not feeling it. But I can't wait until this dries. These bags of mulch were wet, so that's why they look darker. So they'll just take a few days to dry out. Because this piece I did here, you can see it's actually still a tiny bit darker than that. But it's faded a ton, and these are the same kinds of mulch. Hi, Starling. So, over here, I need some more mulch. Okay, so what do we say? 6. So now we're at 7, 8. If I do that, which I do want to do that, 8. I'd love to do some in here, which would be 9. So maybe some in here and a little bit there. That would be 9. So that would work. I'm really, oh my gosh, I'm really tickled with this. Like, it looks so good. You know, it's crazy, you know, when you imagine something and you're like, oh, this is gonna look great. And then you just get closer and closer to it. Very rewarding. I'm about to fall over because I'm trying not to step on the cat, who is literally walking right beside me, and then I got wood chips in my sandal. Anyways, it's looking so good. I was talking to my husband about the sink before we moved it, and I hadn't even told him my idea for that yet. And I was like, hey, so I have this idea, you know, whatever. So wouldn't it be easier to put a splitter thing on that hose that's right there and do that? And he said, yeah, tons easier. And it's not as heavy as I thought it was. It's 2 pieces, is a stand and then the top. So he thought that would be a great idea. And I was telling him how I have all of the supplies I need to make that over. Sterling. Oh my gosh. To make that over, except I wanted to use some sort of repurpose some fabric to make the sink skirt. And I could use like a flat sheet or curtains as long as they were big enough. And I bought a waterproof fabric spray. And so if you don't know what that is, usually people are spraying it on outdoor couches or outdoor pillows. Well, regular couches and regular pillows to make them waterproof so they can use them outdoors. And so I bought some of that because I thought, we've got lots of sheets. I could probably take a flat sheet, but I've not even measured yet, so I really should do that, because now that it's over here and it's a new spot, I'm like really excited to get that done. Clean it off, deep clean, spray paint, all that fun stuff. And we were talking about trying to make some sort of shield to go over the 2 sinks so there's not like dirt and leaves and stuff catching in there, which is the problem we had over here. But over here it's under this big oak tree, and over there there's not a tree just immediately above it, and so that'll probably cut down on it a lot. but I'm still thinking I'd like to make something to go over it. But that probably won't happen at the same time as I do the project, because that was just an idea I got today, and I have all the other stuff. Let's see, what else? Oh, I'll show you where I moved that tiny white rose that was right over here that's not been growing at all. In case you're new here or just don't remember, because I don't expect you to. I bought that this March when we were at the other house, put it in the ground. It grew a bit, like it was a bare root, so it just had like a little bit of leaves on it. So it actually grew like 6 to 8 inches. It leafed out and it had a couple of little blooms on it. Then in late May, when we moved back here, I dug it up and I brought it with, stuck it in the ground over there, and it's literally not grown at all, but it has bloomed twice, but it is still literally 8 inches tall. So it's just not growing. And when I dug it up, it just had its original root system. So I don't know if it's just too rocky and dry over there, but she wasn't thriving. So I wanted to put her in one of my raised beds temporarily so I could baby her. I'll need to get her in a permanent spot about a month before frost, but that gives her a couple of months to live in this loose soil. And when I put her here, I was walking around looking for like the sunniest spot in the beds, because it was midday, so the back beds back there are all in shade. So I stuck her just right here in the front. She's right in front of a tomato. Anyway, so it doesn't have a whole lot of room to thrive here, but I just don't know where to put it permanently. I'm really thinking maybe like creating a little island bed here in the front. But I'm not sure. I like the seating here. I think it needs somewhere with more sun. But what's wild is that there's a rose 4 feet away from where this one was, and she's thriving. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if that 4 feet further back gets more of the sunset sun or what, but it's doing okay, so I'm leaving it there. I'm afraid where this one was, it was literally getting no direct sunlight. Because it was pretty much dead center, the middle of the garden and the edge over here where it gets all the shade from this building. So yeah, so it had to go, it had to move. But anyway, so I'm gonna let my husband know that we need about 10 more bags, and then I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna work on next, because I've got tons to do. Because I also need to clean up this plant stand. I would love to power wash it and paint it. I've got the stuff to do it. I also need to power wash right here in the back of the building and paint Hadley's picnic table, and I've just got a long list, bunch of stuff I could never get done today. So I think what I'll do is I'll take a break because I'm hot, and maybe get the plants in the ground that need to go in the ground, because really, whether it's what I want to do, it's what's most important. But I also want to measure that sink and see if I have a sheet that will fit it, because that'll be fun. I'm just having a chill moment, sitting here resting. Look at this dude. So cute. So cute. And the sun is peeking in the back part of the garden on my shoulder, which feels nice and also makes me want to get in the pool. I didn't put my suit on to work today like I did the last few times I did big projects, because it was actually like 79 degrees when I first came out today, and I figured it'd be kind of chilly in the pool, but I'm hot now, so maybe I'll do that. Oh yeah? Yeah? You like me getting your belly? It's like, oh, okay. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Too low? Too low? Not comfortable? I love cats. They're the best. They're the best. One thing I want to mention in here randomly is that I was looking at my photos I had saved on my cloud storage on my computer the other day, and I realized that they didn't go like beyond 2020, and in 2020 I had just like a few specific photo albums of like family photos and stuff, not like all my photos for the year. And if you guys don't know, I'm like an avid photographer, so I have literally thousands of photos. Specifically on my Facebook page, I have them all organized by album. I have albums for every season, holiday, vacation, birthday party, etc. And so I thought, wow, maybe back when my computer was hacked, my email was hacked, but they installed a virus on my PC. And so I had to, I backed up everything on my PC to my cloud. And then my IT company told me to shut down my computer so the virus couldn't continue to spread. And so I had to take it into them for them to wipe it and everything. So I had thought I had put everything on my cloud storage, but in order to do that, some of my files were so huge, I had to zip them and then put them on the cloud. And I literally spent like 12 hours one day doing this, saving everything I could, which was very time sensitive according to the IT company. So I did that, and then the stuff on my cloud that's like zipped, I've never unzipped it. And I was looking at it the other day, and some of the stuff, when I went to unzip it, there was nothing in it. So I feel like I lost stuff, which immediately made me panic. I have photo albums and scrapbooks I've made up until like mid 21, I think. But in those scrapbooks, I had no gardening photos because I always had the intention of making gardening scrapbooks, like dedicated by themselves. And so I didn't have gardening photos saved anywhere. So I sat down on my computer. I spent probably, I don't know, maybe 6 hours one day last week going through my Facebook, because I have the garden photo albums on Facebook. And I went through, like this guy, he's got his hand on my arm. So I went back to 2019, which was 2 years after I moved back to Arkansas, but it was the first year I did like an actual garden. And I did that one at my dad's house. And that was, if you've been with me for a while, that was the year I changed the channel to Ozark Permaculture. And we did that big, huge in-ground garden at my dad's. And then I did some flower beds here at Jeff's house. That's my husband. And we were just dating then, and we had just began dating. So I went through and I saved all of that stuff. And then I got to 2020 and I had, anyways, I guess the short story, you guys, is that I saved gardening photos from 2019 to 22. I got to the end of 22. And the reason it took so long was because as my garden spaces grew each year, I had different albums within the yearly album of landscape beds, kitchen garden, in-ground garden. The year we did the flower farm, like everything was separate. And I'm literally naming files for certain spaces where I have had huge transformations over time. Like specifically the year I did the chocolate garden, those all have specific names. The moon garden, and then the front flower bed along the front porch. Every single one of those photos over the last 3 years, they say, you know, front porch bed at the end of the file name. I did the same thing for the flower bed I made in front of the front yard, the log bed. So my intention is eventually, it's going to take a long time, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to create a video with all these photos and basically have like a 2019 gardening collage to watch the evolution of the spaces as well as the harvest and everything else. And it just amazes me. When I got to 22, or 21 was the year we did the flower farm and we tried to grow for profit and we had the farm stand and all of that. And it just amazes me at the amount of harvest that we brought in that year. Like I have photos of tomatoes and peppers and squash and okra just all over our entire kitchen counters, and like our whole dining room table that seats 8 people. It was full of produce from like 2 days of harvesting. It was insane, you guys. And I was telling my husband, I said, you know, when I see pictures like this, I really miss growing that much, because we canned so many tomatoes that year. So many. And we use that. That's the most that we use in our cooking all throughout the year. Is tomato juice, salsa, spaghetti sauce. And so anyways, I guess I'm just telling you that at some point in time in the near future, when I have time, I'm going to put together these collage videos. But then when I was getting to like 22, it made me realize I started gardening in 2016 in the desert. So 16 and 17, maybe it was 15. I guess it was at least 16, 17. Anyway, I'm going to go back. Once I save all the way up to present, I'm going to go back, and I'm also going to save everything from my gardening in the desert and do videos on each year. Because it's just so fun. As a gardener and a photographer, it is so fun for me to look back. The 6 hours I sat there doing it just flew by. I was engrossed in my past and like looking back at all those memories. And I told my husband too, like I came across a lot of plants that I wish I would have grown this year that I just completely forgot about. One of them being the cherry vanilla quinoa. You guys, it was so beautiful. It was so pretty. And I definitely want to try and redo it in like a larger space. And when I say larger, I mean like maybe one of my whole raised beds next year. And so I added a reminder on my calendar to repeat every year to remind myself in like December to go through and save all my pictures off of Facebook and put them in my cloud. And in January or February of every year when I'm doing my garden planning, to go through all of my garden photos and conclude what I want to grow. Because another thing that I missed out on this year was coxcomb. I love that flower. It is so low maintenance. It's beautiful. It's so easy to grow. Forgot all about it. Lantana I wanted to grow this year in front of the house, just completely forgot. And when I did think of it, it was too late to put it in. I love lantana. And I'm filling that bed in so much with perennials. There's not a lot of space left to throw annuals in. So it's something I need to keep in mind, you know, as things grow. But anyway, so as a gardener, I keep those records, but I'm not like real organized with those records, except they all are in one place on Facebook. And I just need to, you know, use it. And I also want to put together the video collages to share those memories with you guys. And, you know, maybe some of my desert gardening stuff will inspire you, because I know it did me and it taught me so much. And so anyways, I'm gonna do that soon. This video is probably gonna get to be too long. Hope you got nothing to do right now. I came inside for a break and look at how much better this looks out the window. I love it. I also moved this bird feeder like to the right, like 3 feet. So it's gonna right in the middle of my view. Got the wind chimes over here and the hummingbird light up thing over here. But just, wow, look at that. So I'll definitely be doing mulch in here around the plants when we get the other mulch. But oh my goodness, I'm loving it. Okay, so I'm working over here on getting a plant in the ground. And I'm starting with the purple fountain grass. I did trim it back quite a bit. And I wanted to show you guys my setup for planting these plants. Oh, I also moved the cannas. Look at that. It's all dark over there, but they were, get out of the sun. They were right there. Move them right there. Nice. Threw some shelf pieces out there to kind of make like an impromptu step, and it works decently well. It's plastic, so it gives in the middle a little bit, but not too much. But anyways, here's my setup. Have a cat, looks like he's trying to make out with a water hose. Alright, so I used this container here. You saw me share in a Temu haul, and it like folds up flat. But when you open it up, it kind of creates these sides like this. So I didn't want to really mess up my mulch I've worked so hard on. So when I dug my hole, I put the dirt in there. So there's my hole where I'm going to do my fountain grass. I'm going to get it in. And I think I'll just bring you guys back and show you everything I got in the ground, because I'm definitely getting tired. So I'm sitting here sweating. I only got the purple fountain grass planted. I've got a kitty cat on my lap. He's so precious. I think he's trying to go to sleep. Look at his little leg hanging down off my leg. He's adorable. So I also got the water hose box set up, and I was going to try and just not use the attachment where, you know, like you hook up a hose to your spigot and then you hook it up to the side of the box, and then inside the box you screw your hose in there. I was going to try and not do that because it's short, and I wanted it in front of the AC, like where I showed you it was, and I still think it was really cute there. But I could not set it up that way. The hose would not like wind up if it wasn't attached to that internal spigot inside the box. So I gave up on that idea and I put it on the right way, which means I had to move the box, and I don't like where it's at. So here's where it's at. I don't like it. Ernesto, I don't like it, buddy. I don't like it. He doesn't care. It just feels like it's like floating out there. It's visually blocking the fountain behind it. I could move it more to the left, but then my intent was to get it like between the kitchen garden and like the front landscape beds. So I don't know, I guess I'll just live with it for a bit. And honestly, getting the hose in there, I feel like the hose box is very dinky and lightweight, and when I go to pull my hose out, I'm just gonna drag the box, you know, like that. It kind of feels like that, which is disappointing, and I don't need any of that in my life. So I may end up just completely doing away with it. I don't know. I wish I could get one of those, they have a name. They're a hose reel that you put on a stand, and it's like you pull it and it sucks it back in automatically. And my favorite gardening channel, Garden Answer, she has those. I don't know if they're expensive. I assume they are. I've honestly never looked. She does promote them every once in a while and like offer a coupon code, but I've just never looked. But that would be so divine, because those boxes are almost like chest level. So then you just pull out your hose and you do what you need to do. And because it's kind of like the rest of it is like in the air, then you're not dragging it around all your plants. I don't know. I'm feeling very low energy, so I'm not sure I'm going to get much else done. I had all of my gardening supplies setting over there next to the, I don't remember the name of that flower. Another flower right over there, so I could, if I got that in the ground, I'd be done with that spot right there. But however, you can see now, this is the time of day where this garden is full sun until sunset, so it's hotter over there and I'm hot, and I'm just I'm running low on energy. And I already went through and I watered everything, and I didn't fertilize, so I'll do that tomorrow. But I was just thinking, what else do I really need to get done today, and what can I get done tomorrow? Tomorrow is Sunday. These are my 2 days where I have the most freedom to be in the garden, but I don't like spending all the time in the garden, because then I'm not doing other hobbies I enjoy, which are cooking and cleaning and projects inside the house. And so I try to balance my Saturday and Sunday to do all of those things: garden, cook, clean, inside projects, and family time. Those are the things that I just have less time to do during the week. So yeah, it's almost 5 right now, and I'm making the cracked out potato casserole for dinner, which takes a little bit to get it all together and in the oven. And I think Jeff and the girls are on their way back from town. Definitely not going to finish that mulch until tomorrow when it's cooler. I may do like dinner and then come out here when the sun is back behind these trees and get a few more things planted. My husband doesn't mind to help me plant, but I feel bad to ask him, because like he doesn't like love that kind of stuff like I do. But when he helps me, it gets obviously done twice as fast. So we'll see. These are all the things I think about when I'm working in the garden, and I'm just trying to figure out what to do next, and whether I have energy or not. Because sometimes I can come out in the garden, you guys, and I literally have energy to work out here for like 6 to 8 hours. I take breaks in between and stuff, and like today I've just not had that. I got in like a solid 2 hours, and then I've been tired ever since. And so I really need to listen to my body and probably rest before I make dinner and stuff. So we'll just see. I want to mention too, like if you looked at my Google Calendar with my garden notes and to-dos and stuff, I literally have like 4 things on my list. That's it, 4 things. But one of those 4 things is plant 17 plants, you know. And so, and another is paint Hadley's table, which would take me like 2 or 3 hours to paint this little picnic table I'm sitting on. And another is finish painting the blocks, which I know is a solid 6 to 8 hours to get the other 3 done. So they're big things, and they're on my calendar as just like a weekend reminder thing, you know, like it's just like an hour block on there with my whole to-do list. And so sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I'm gonna get so much done today, and then I have to remind myself, if that block was as long as that list would actually take me, it'd probably be like 18 hours. But it's not, because it's just a reminder. And so yeah, definitely a little overloaded getting back to projects in the garden because I have so many to do, and I'm trying to just remind myself that this is what I love. This is what we love when we garden, you know, like this is like this is gardening. It's always having things to plant, always having things to weed, always having things to do, because that's why we love garden. It's a constantly evolving, an always open project. And so I'm trying to remind myself, it's fine. You know, like the few things in containers that I know are literally struggling, I'll plant them in the morning, okay? Everything else, literally no deadline, chill out on myself. So I'm trying. But anyways, I'm sure this video is too long, so I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope you have had a wonderful day thus far and continue to have a great day. And thank you for being here. And we love you guys.